Hi, good morning, everyone. Did I say good morning? It's good afternoon, right? Welcome to this TradeStation webinar where we're going to talk about chart trading. It's one of those utilities in TradeStation that everyone should know about, even if you don't use it. The ability to place trades from a chart sounds like very convenient. So before we jump over to the topic, let me just make some introductions. My name is Jesus Nava. I'm in the client training and education department of TradeStation. In fact, my job here at TradeStation is to develop content to make it easy for you guys to use the TradeStation technology. That's what I do all day. And it's a pleasure to be here talking about TradeStation and teaching you some tips and tricks on the TradeStation platform. Before we get started, here are some usual disclosures. Keep in mind that every symbol and idea that I talk about in this presentation is for educational purposes only. It is not a recommendation of TradeStation. Also, that active trading is not suitable for everyone, and it should only be done with risk capital. Past historical performance is no guarantee of future results. And for anybody that's looking for additional information on these disclosures, go to our website, tradestation.com, and you'll find all the disclosure information there. Let's go ahead and talk a little bit about what is it that TradeStation is doing on You Can Trade. So You Can Trade is an educational platform, and TradeStation is hosting two different channels. One of the channels is called the Getting Started with TradeStation. And if you haven't been to youcantrade.com, I want to encourage everyone to do so and check out the content that is inside of the Getting Started channel. Getting Started is a totally free channel, and we open up the session for Q&A. So if you have any questions on the TradeStation technology, this is a perfect setting for you to get those questions answered. And once you're ready to take your TradeStation education to the next level, we offer the TradeStation Masterclass. We dive deeper into the TradeStation technology. We have some premium courses. We also, talk about strategy concepts and how to develop unique strategies. We meet there every single day, and every session is archived. In addition to doing deep dives on the TradeStation technology and having multiple sessions where you can ask questions. I think those are really useful because a lot of times, you're using a TradeStation software and you come across something that you're not really knowledgeable about, and you want somebody to tell you how to do it. And these sessions, they become very interactive, and I want to invite everyone to those sessions titled Ask the TradeStation Experts and personalize your TradeStation in the way that works for you. And once in a while, we do have some exclusive special guests events. So make sure that you check out the content right there on youcantrade.com. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. Thank you for being here. Thank you for taking the time to learn a little bit about TradeStation. Let's go ahead and jump right over the topic of today's presentation, which is chart trading. I'm going to switch over to my TradeStation platform, and I'm going to get started with a chart analysis window. So apps, chart analysis. And here it is. We have a chart of Twitter. Doesn't matter what symbol you load right here. By the way, this functionality that I'm going to show you today works not only on equities, which is the example that I have on the chart right now, but you can also use it on futures, and you can also use it on options. So don't feel like that if I'm using an example like Twitter, that you cannot apply this on futures, or this is not a class for you, because it's totally applicable. Here, I have a 5-minute chart of Twitter. A lot of times we do our analysis on charting. We have our technical indicators on charting. So it just makes a lot of sense to be able to send your trades from a chart analysis window. Specifically, if you're trying to hit certain levels, if you've identified, certain support and resistance levels on your chart, or you're trying to reach, a certain band of your indicator, if this is the case for you, if you're using sort of indicators that use bands like Bollinger or Keltner channel, if you're just waiting for that band to be reached, a lot of those types of analysis just makes a lot more sense to put in that trade right here on the chart, because you'll see your order in relationship to those analysis that you're doing. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. First of all, I'm going to enable it, because you do have to enable chart trading before you can use it. And it's very simple to do. All you have to do is look at the top right here of the chart, and you're going to find a little button that says chart trading. So if you're in front of TradeStation right now, I want you to just hover over the buttons on at the top of TradeStation chart, and one of them will say chart trading, and you click on it. And a little bit of history here on chart trading. Chart trading, this tool that you see here on the right-hand side of my chart, was fully developed using easy language. So that provides you multiple benefits. One of the benefits is that you can go in there and see how it's written. Because if you like the fact that we have some sort of a trade bar on the right-hand side with different buttons and different functionality, this, of course, is something that you can do on your own. And the fact that you can open up the code for chart trading, it's a great benefit, because now you can tell how it's written. I'm not going to say that it's easy to write something like chart trading, because this is a utility that was written using easy language, but it's very sophisticated. It has a lot of functionality built in. But I'm just using this as a parenthesis to tell you that if there's something that you're trying to create, TradeStation is a type of platform that provides you the tools to customize your TradeStation and your order entry in any way possible. Now, what I'm noticing right now here on my trade bar on the right-hand side is that the font is really small. And I just have to apologize for that, because I'm not sure how did it get so small. I think what I needed to do is I needed to restart the computer before the presentation, but I'm just going to point to different things here on the trade bar. And if you have, a multiple monitor machine, you can probably pull up your TradeStation along with this presentation. And that way you can follow along the different buttons that I'm showing here on the right-hand side. Okay. Someone's saying here in the chat that chart trading does not appear on the screen. What category is it in? Just make sure that you're using this on the desktop. Chart trading functionality on mobile and chart trading functionality on web trading may be a little bit different. I'm not sure what platform you're using, Jim, but this is on the desktop, and it's on the toolbar at the very top. By the way, I am going to be answering questions from the chat that are related to the topic, so feel free to ask any questions right here in the chat. Make sure to send it to everyone so everyone can see it. But I do ask that we maintain or we keep those questions related to chart trading. If you have any off-topic questions, I do recommend that you join us in the Getting Started channel, where we have an open Q&A about everything you want to talk about, okay? On the left-hand side, I have a whole set of buttons. And the very first thing we're going to do here in chart trading is start to explain some of the buttons you see right here on the right-hand side. I'm talking about the blue and the red buttons. On the very big buttons, the ones that are most prominent, have a buy and a short word inside the button. So they're very clear on what they're going to do if you click on them. So this one on the left-hand side, the blue button, is going to buy. And what is interesting about the button is that it also provides you real-time data. So inside that button, you can see the inside bid. That's what the price is, because clicking on this button, what it'll do, it'll create a limit order on the price that is displayed on that button. As simple as that. These are limit orders on that price. The same happens with the short trade. The short trade, the price that you see right there in the box is the ask price of Twitter, real-time ask price. So when you press the short button, what it'll do, it'll send a limit order to short the shares at that price that is shown at the button at the time that you click on it. And it's very cool. And one thing that I forgot to do here on my TradeStation is turn on confirmations, because I want you to be able to see the confirmation before the trade goes through. For a lot of times, what I do on my TradeStation classes is that I disable confirmations so that I can, place those trades a little bit more quickly. And maybe it's your preference too. A lot of times I see traders that don't like to see confirmations because it's an extra step they have to go through before the order goes to the market, and they just want to remove it and not deal with the confirmation. But confirmations are great because they do allow you to double check your work, double check your order, make sure that it is exactly the way that you want to submit it, the number of shares, the direction you want to send that order at, the symbol that you want to trade, and most importantly, how much is it going to cost you? So all that information is in the confirmation window, and sometimes we need to look at it just to make sure that we are on the right track. But for those of you that want a quick order entry tool, that want to avoid any type of delays when sending an order, you can disable confirmations. Now, confirmations, if I want to enable these, let me go to File, Preferences. I'm going to go here to Order Entry. Okay, Order Entry. For equities, I'm going to go to Validations and Confirms, and I'm going to check my confirmations on. So let's see what happens when I click on this blue button, Buy. This is the confirmation window. Take a look at, well, this is sent as a join type of order. If you look over here on the very top, it says buy 500. I didn't adjust the quantity, by the way. So it's using the default quantity, which is also visible right here on the top. If you look at the trade bar, you see the quantity box. If I had, seen it before placing the order, I would have told you this is for 500 shares. But it's right there in the confirmation. I'm able to see that it's for 500. This is Twitter at join limit. Now the join limit, the bid and ask information right here is a snapshot of when this order was generated. So let's see what happens, because this is going to try to bid at 43.08, or is it going to bid at the price that's trading at the moment? Let's see what happens. I'm going to say yes, and the order goes. So it waits for you to click OK on that confirmation for it to join the best bid. So think of that button. I just got filled, but think of that button as a way of joining the best bid. And if you had confirmations off, it would go right into the best bid. But since I had confirmations on, it wasn't until I clicked on OK that it actually looked at the bid price and set that as my limit price. So very simple functionality. I want everybody to use those buttons on the trading simulator to make sure that you have a good understanding of what the button is doing before you, venture into using the buttons in your live account. The numbers, somebody's asking, what are the numbers below the ask and bid on the red and blue boxes? The numbers that you see right under the prices, those are the offer, the bid and offer. Those are how many shares are being bid and how many shares are being asked for at that particular moment. Remember that this is the inside bid and ask. Best bid, best ask, and how many shares is it for? So it does give you a little bit of information about liquidity and how many shares are available at that price. That's what it's saying. So you notice that I got filled. Let me open up my chart a little bit more. When it submitted that trade, you can see that yellow line. It's a horizontal line. It's a display of my account orders and positions. Very nice, because I'm able to see where my position is in relationship to what has happened to Twitter historically. And I'm not talking historically, years ago, but, a few minutes ago or hours ago or days ago. I know that I'm somewhere in the range of today's trading activity, although the market was trading, close to $45 when the day started, and it's already trading at $43. So it is a down day for Twitter. So knowing where the prices of the symbol that you're trading has been in history, it's very valuable when looking at your position, because you're looking at the position in context with what has happened with any security that you're trading. All right. Next button that I'm going to show you is the close button, because I want to be able to get rid of that position because I'm going to show you some other order entry placement. The close button here is a very quick way for you to send a market order to close whatever number of shares you have on the symbol that's loaded on the chart. So in this example, I have Twitter. So if I were to click on the close button, it will just look at my account, find out how many shares I have for Twitter, and submit a market order to close out of those trades. It doesn't matter if it's a long trade, a short trade. What the close does, it's a quick market order to get you out. So let me show you how this works. I'm going to click on close, and I get the confirmation window one more time. On this example, I'm going to go ahead and disable confirmations because I don't want to get this pop-up window every time I trade, but I did want to show it to you so that you can always, use it, especially when you jump over to your live account and you're not really familiar with the technology. You want to make sure that the orders you're submitting are exactly what you want to send. So here's, you can see that it's going to sell 500 Twitter at market. First of all, I'm going to check this box that says, don't show me this again for trade bar and macro equity orders. And I'm just going to click on yes. Order filled. And you can hear my computer say order filled. So we have audible confirmations turned on. I can hear my TradeStation say order filled. I'm out of the trade that I entered just now. I lost the money. If I click and hold on the background of my chart and I put my vertical axis on that bar where I have the entry and the exit, take a look at the trade information right on that bar. On this box you see it at the bottom, it says I bought 500 at 43.05 and I sold 500 at 42.95. So I lost 10 cents from the time that I bought to the time that I sold. And since I'm trading 500 shares, that's how much? 100 shares would be $10, $50, right? I lost $50. Sometimes my head doesn't work really quick when it wants to do math. All right, let's take a look at the short side. Is going to behave exactly the same as the buy side, where it's going to send a limit order at the price that is inside of the button, okay? And the number that you see under the price is just, as I said before, the size of the ask or the size of the bid. If you want to have a quicker execution and not have to rely on a limit order, then you have the following two buttons. You have a market, a buy market, and a short market. And as the close button did for my open position, which was a really quick exit on the shares that I had, the buy market and the short market buttons here have the same behavior. They'll get you in at market at whatever price it can get you, the best price it can get you from the exchange. And very quickly, I can show you an example. Let me short 100 shares of Twitter. I'm going to change the quantity to 100, and I'm going to short market. And I get filled. Immediately, I see my entry at 42.91. That's where my yellow line is. And I start making money if the price continues to drop. And I'm really close to trading at the low of the day. How do I know that? Because I'm trading on the chart. If I had traded on the trade bar at the top or on the matrix, yeah, the matrix does tell me what the low of the day is. But here I can see that the low of the day was somewhere back here, and I kind of entered a short trade right at that price. Maybe thinking that if it reaches that level again, it's just going to break it and continue to go down. Maybe that's what's going to happen, and that's why I would be sending a short trade. But again, this is just an example. We're just talking about functionality, and it's in no way a recommendation on Twitter or a recommendation from TradeStation. Okay, so let's go ahead and close that trade one more time. Oh, let me use this as a way to show you what the reverse button does here. Reverse is a very interesting order action button because it takes your position and reverses you to the opposite direction. What that means is that if you are in a short position, like I am right now, I have 100 shares short of Twitter. It'll take those shares, cover them, so it'll buy the cover, and then take you long the same number of shares. That's a total reverse with one click of a button. Now, if you're long, it'll do exactly the opposite. If you're long and you click on the reverse, it's going to sell your long trade, and then it's going to take you short. Completely reversal with one button. Let me show you how that looks. I want you to take a look at the wording here. It does say, net short minus 100, and as soon as I click on reverse, I get filled, and now my yellow line says net long. All right? Very quickly. If you don't have confirmations on, it'll do it automatically. So be careful about that. And that's why I said confirmations are good, especially if you're trying to learn the functionality. Okay? Reverse is grayed out. Remember that reverse only comes on if you have a position open. So make sure that you have a position open, reverse will be available for you to click. Chris is asking, will the reverse switch change options from say put to call at the same? No, it doesn't do that. So especially if you're using chart trading on an option, you're still trading the same option. So if you're long a call and you click reverse, you'll be short the same call. So it doesn't switch puts to calls. All right. Let's go ahead and take a look at some other functionality here, because the whole idea of chart trading is for you to be able to click on the chart and place some trades. Oh, but I didn't want to show you that until I went through all the different buttons here, because they're very straightforward. So I'll just explain what they do. There's two buttons that say take and hit. I'm not sure if you guys have used them, but it's a very quick way of sending an order to execution with some sort of with a little bit of price conditioning. So it's not like a market order that is totally open to what the market's doing at the moment. You're still sending a limit order, but you're crossing the market. So rather than buying at the bid, like the top button would do, if you click on the take button, it's going to buy at the ask. So in theory, I mean, you're getting filled at what the price at the price that the sellers are selling at, which is very very interesting, right? You're crossing the market, and if the seller is selling at a particular price and you say, yeah, I'm going to buy at that price, it should be an immediate execution. Of course, in a fast moving market, prices may move away very quickly from the price that you want. So even if you send a hit or take, there's a chance that your order may just sit there and not get filled at all. Because by the time you click on that button, the order goes out to the exchange, and the exchange receives it. You know, a lot of things can happen to the price. So just be aware of that. But the take and hit, what it does is just buys at the asking price and sells at the bid price, which is a very interesting way of sending your orders. Okay. Correct, William. The take and hit, they're still limit orders. They don't send market orders. Let me show you an example. I'm going to click on close. Okay, and I'm gonna take right here. I'm gonna click on the take button. What the take does, it just fills me immediately because it just hits the asking price. But if I go over here to my trade manager, that'll tell me what type of order was submitted. So let me go here to my trade manager. Let me resize this. And if you look, the most recent order is all the way at the top when I bought 100. You can see that it was a limit order at 42.89. And it was filled at 42.89. So kind of an immediate execution, but it's always limit orders. All right, let's go ahead and close that trade. All right, and another type of order that is assigned to a button here to chart trading is the buy trail and short trail. A lot of times when you think about a trailing stop, you know, you're thinking about something that is protective, or something that is that it allows you to capture some profits if the market is going in your favor. But most of the time when you think about trailing stops, you're thinking about an exit, closing out your trade. If you use a trail button, like a buy trail or short trail, without having a position open, you are using a trailing stop to get into a trade. Now, not a lot of traders think about that, but this is a very cool way for you to get into a trade. For example, here, Twitter, it's kind of going on a downtrend as we speak. You know, we kind of broke the lowest low that Twitter traded at earlier today. So let's go ahead and do something. Let's say that we're interested in trading Twitter. Again, this is just an example. I know that it's trading at 42.85, but I'm going to capitalize on this idea that I think Twitter may go down even lower. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send a buy order very close to where the price is at the moment. And if Twitter continues to drop, my order will drop with it. So it's an interesting way of entering on a optimized price if the market goes in your favor. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to change the drop down here to points instead of percentage, because that's what I want to use, just straight points. And I want my trail to be 5 cents. So I've entered 0.05 in the amount box. As soon as I do that, I'm ready to place that buying trail, and I'll click on this buy trail blue button and take a look. It put my buy at 42.91 because the current price is at 42.87. Or it was actually 42.86 at the time that I submitted the trade. That's why my buy is at 42.91. So my order is there, but take a look at what's going on. My buy order is moving with the market. This is an entry order, it's not an exit. So as Twitter goes down, I am improving my entry price. I started off at 42.91 as the entry price that I wanted, but who doesn't want to earn, a few more pennies on the entry price? So if you're interested in entering whatever security is that you're trading, futures or whatever product, and the markets are trending down, and you want to make sure that you get in at a price that maybe it's a little bit more favorable, maybe a trailing stop can help you do that. When Twitter stops dropping and then it reverses and starts going up, it should hit my limit order at the price that I've submitted. Let's see if that happens as we speak right now. I still have my order there at 42.86. The current price is 4 pennies away. So we'll sit here tight and see if it happens. Okay. So the trailing entry will continue to move down, but not up. There's a question here from the chat that is absolutely correct. It'll only move down. Just as any other trailing stop that you would use, it only moves when the market goes in your favor. If it goes against you, in this case, going against would be up because it would be a higher price and it won't move. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at some other order entry. So this seems like it doesn't want to enter. So let me go ahead and cancel. You have some yellow buttons here that gives you a very quick way of canceling trades. Although I'm going to show you other ways in which you can cancel trades. So cancel all just cancels my order. You can see that it just goes away. So the whole idea behind chart trading was also to give you the ability to click on the background of the chart and generate a trade. As simple as that. And sometimes, being close to a specific level, sometimes, looking at where the price has been historically, like for example, closer to 2 p.m. this afternoon, just about 45 minutes ago, Twitter was trading at 43.40. Maybe we want to send a buy order right at that level, thinking that, Twitter will bounce back up, and then on its way up, we can probably get filled at 43.40. How do we send an order right there at 43.40? All you need to do is hold down the control key. We're going to talk about 2 keys on your keyboard that are necessary for you to send orders by clicking. Those 2 keys are Control and Alt. But Control is going to be your keyboard key to buy, and Alt will be your keyboard key to sell. So if I want to buy at 43.40, I have to hold down the Control key, and I have to put my cursor at 43.40, and I can click once. Now I want you to see what happened here, because I kind of missed the price by 1 penny. I wanted to send my order. In fact, let me push this to the left-hand side so we can see it. I wanted to submit my order. Maybe I went a little too far. Okay. I wanted to submit my order at 43.40, but when I clicked, I missed it. Now my limit order is at 43.41. No sweat, no problem, no need to freak out, because you can change that order very quickly by clicking and dragging. If I click on that order line and I drag it to 43.40, it generates a cancel replace as quickly as you saw it change. So now my blue line is right at 43.40. So whenever you have to make some adjustments to the order because you kind of messed up the price, then click and drag that order line, and it'll allow you to drop it at the price that you want. To avoid having to change it, let me show you another way that you can change an order. I did already show you how to cancel orders using the yellow buttons here on the right. Let me show you how to cancel the order by clicking. You can click on the order line and press delete on the keyboard, and that's another way that you can cancel any active order. So let's do that again. I'm going to buy at 43.40, but this time I'm going to do it a little bit differently so that I don't miss the price that I want. So I'm going to hold down the control key, and rather than clicking just once, I'm going to click and hold my mouse button because it gives you the flexibility of moving your cursor up and down before you release and the order is generated. So I'm going to click up here. I'm at 43.45. You can see the price on the far right on the price scale. I'm going to bring it down to 43.40. So it's not until I see 43.40 right there on the price scale that I'm going to let go of my mouse, and that'll make sure that that entry is submitted at 43.40. Does that make sense? Again, I want you guys to practice this on the simulator if you're having difficulties submitting that buy order. Now that you have it in place, you can change it to anywhere you want. I know that the current price of Twitter is 42.91. So if I want to move it down to 43, I can click on that order, drag it down to 43, let go of my mouse, and you can see that now I have a new order to buy at 43 even. Okay. So remember, to cancel the order, you have multiple ways. You can use the yellow buttons here on the right, or you can click on the line. Just click on the line once. You see some little white dots appear on the line. The white dots that you see right there, that just means that I have the order selected. That's all it means. If you click back on the background, those white dots will go away. So see, but you have to see, before you press the delete key, you have to see those white dots just to make sure that the order is selected. And once the order is selected, I press the delete key on my keyboard and the order goes away. All right. The key that I held down was Control. So remember, Control is the keyboard key to buy. Alt is the keyboard key to sell. The cancel all, this cancel all yellow button, yes, as the commenter said there in the chat, it only cancels the active orders for the symbol that's loaded here on the chart. So it doesn't cancel all the orders in your account, just the ones that pertain to the symbol that you have loaded here. One thing that I wanted to show you is that chart trading automatically switches the order type based on where you are submitting that trade. And I say this because a lot of times you may not be aware of this. Let me show you exactly what I mean. If I want to buy at 43, I'm going to hold down the control key and bring my cursor to 43. And that's my stop market order at 43. So when you send an order to buy at a price that is higher than what the current price is trading at, it's going to be a stop market order. Now, different than, let me remove this order. But if I hold down the control key, and let's say, for example, I want to buy at 42.60, when I do that, this is a plain limit order. So it knows where the clicking is happening in relationship to the current trading price. And anything above to buy is going to be a stop order, and anything below to buy is going to be a limit order, and it happens automatically. That's something that you believe you cannot disable in chart trading. You can probably select it on Matrix, but not on chart trading. Let me go ahead and cancel that order and do some other types of orders. We did say that the Alt key is to sell. If I don't have any open positions on this symbol, and I don't have any open positions, I would see, how do I know that I don't have any open positions? Well, for start, I don't see the yellow line that would show up if I had an open position on this symbol. We've seen it before. The yellow line, it gives you the net position. And I also don't see position information here on the right-hand side. On the trade bar, you also have a little box that provides position information if you have any open positions. But let me give you some examples on selling transactions. Selling transactions, if you don't have a position open, we'll just take a short trade on this symbol. So I'm holding the Alt key. If I want to do it at 43, I want you guys to notice the color of the line. Now the line is kind of red because it's a selling transaction. And if you don't have any shares to sell, it'll be a sell short transaction. So here you can see that a limit order, because I am above the current trading price. That's the order type that is selected. Now, if I'm holding down the Alt key and I press down here at 42.60, it'll be a stop market order because I'm going to short Twitter at 42.60. So these are different scenarios that I want you guys to practice on the TradeStation Trading Simulator, because a lot of times it does take a little bit of practice in order for you to gain some familiarity with the technology, especially, knowing if you're holding control, if you're holding Alt, if you're above the market, if you're below the market. So those are things that only come with practice. But once you get a good handle on chart trading, it's going to be very cool. It's going to be very, very simple for you to submit orders and not have to move your eyes away from the chart analysis if you're doing your technical indicators. Perfect. Let's talk about OCOs and OSOs before we end this session, because we are already at our 48-minute mark, and I want to make sure that I answer some of your questions that said, how do I send a stop, or how do I send a profit target with my entry? That is all done and is built into chart trading as well, using the checkbox here that says attach an OSO. So anytime that you submit an order, it automatically has a stop in place. By default, if you go to the drop down, by default, the very top template is the one highlighted, which is exit bracket, one limit, one stop. That's the one that has a profit target and a stop loss associated with the entry, so that if you do get filled and you are in a position, it automatically monitors your position for profits and for losses. You don't have to do anything. Everything is monitored by TradeStation. It's a very, it's what I call an all-inclusive trade. I didn't make up the term. I think I may have heard it somewhere else, but it's what I usually call, an all-inclusive trade. But here you can set it to a stop only. If all you want is just a plain old stop, you do a stop only. That way, if I submit a buy order, which I'm going to do right now, let me do a buy order at 42.60. So I'm holding down the control key and I'm clicking right there at 42.60. I want you guys to see the gray line that showed up right below it. That is my stop. My stop by default is set to 10 cents, and that's why it went down to 42.50. Can I adjust the stop level before submitting the trade? Of course. Let me go ahead and click on cancel all. And what I'm going to do is right next to that drop down where I select the template, I'm going to click on the ellipsis here on the right hand side. You can see the offset right there is 10 cents. Let's suppose that I want to set my stop to 50 cents. I just type in 50 in there, click OK, and I just have to do it again. I hold down the control key and I click somewhere here at 42.50. Now you can see that instead of showing the order line, I see a 1 with a yellow, because I'm using a fixed scale. And that's why it's kind of letting me know that, hey, down there, you have one order. That's what that yellow 1 is at the bottom. If I reset the scale, my chart is set to automatically show any active orders for the security. So now I see my buy order at 42.60. And if it does get filled, my stop is at 42.10, 50 cents away. Let me cancel all this. Yes, let's do an example with 3 futures contracts. Thank you, Timothy. Sometimes I focus on just the symbol. The thing is that I really don't focus on an asset per se. But yeah, all the examples that I showed right here do apply to other instruments. Let's just do an example here, a little bit more involved with a futures contract. I'm going to go to ESZ21. That is the December futures contract, which I believe is the front month still, right? All right, and let's see. So this seems to be going down. Let's do a long trade. Let's just change the outlook here. Yeah, it's going down, but we think that it may just bounce and go in the opposite direction. And when it does, I want to get in. So I'm looking at this level right here, 46.75. Maybe that's the level that I want to trade at. If it comes back to 46.75, I want to buy 3 contracts. 3 contracts, why? Because I want to scale out of my position. Let's go ahead and see how we can do that. I'm going to go here to the drop down, and I'm going to select This one that is a little bit more complex, it has a 3L and 2 stops. What does that mean? It means that you're going to be scaling out of your position. 3 limits just means that if it goes a little bit in your favor, you're going to get rid of one contract. If it goes a little bit above that, then you're going to get rid of your second contract. And then you have another third target if it does reach it a little bit higher. Let's go here to the ellipsis to see how this is set up. And you can see that the first target is at 10 price increments, the second one at 20, the third one at 30. You can see the stops, you know, 2 of the contracts are going to be set at 10 minimum increments, and then the other one at 20. Let's change this a little bit, you know, because I'm looking, I did say that I want to get in at 46.75. I want to set my first target at 46.85. That is 10 whole points. That is not 10 minimum increments. If you're a futures trader, you know that minimum increments is just quarters of a point. But if I want my first target to be at 46.85, I have to change this. How many minimum increments are in 10 points? There's a total of 40. 40 quarters is what I'm trying to say. So 40 quarters is going to be 10 points. I want maybe I want to do a little bit less than that, 20. Let me do 5, and I'm going to do 40 here and 60. So for the first, I'm going to do 5 points, 5 times 4. That's what I'm saying here. 4 quarters is 20. Then 60, and then 20. And for the stops, I'm going to do 40 here, and then 80 here. Let's see how that looks. I'm going to click OK. And I'm going to submit my order. I'm holding down the control key, and I'm going to buy at 46.75. Due to lack of initial margin information, let's say, would you like to place this order? Say yes. Yes, yes. It's going to give me that. And my order was rejected. Let's see, maybe because if any order gets rejected or an order that you're working with, you can always come here to the messages. I wasn't expecting a reject, but here on the messages tab, it tells you what the leg is, and the quantity is negative. Oh, I know what the problem is. Yes, exactly, Don. You have a good eye. I only traded 1 contract, so when I cannot split that contract in 3. I have to be able to trade 3 contracts if I'm setting these multiple exits going up or down. So let's go ahead and do that again. I'm going to cancel all. All right, and I'm going to change my quantity here to 3, and then I'm going to hold down the control key. And I'm going to buy at 46.75, which is the price that I wanted. Uh-oh, it actually went to 46.75.25. But let's bring it down just a tick. And there we go. Now we have 3 targets, 46.80, 46.85, 46.90. Every time that it reaches one of those levels, it's going to get rid of one of my contracts. And then I have 2 main stops working right there at the bottom. All right. Let's see. Yeah, this is the recorded. It's going to be available in the TradeStation YouTube channel. So make sure you come back and check the YouTube channel in a few days. It just takes us some time just to edit the presentation and make sure that it goes through compliance for approval. All right. So yes, TradeStation YouTube channel is the place where to watch this session. And that's what I wanted to show you. I wanted to show you a little bit of some of the buttons here on the trade bar. I also wanted to show you how to send a buy or a sell order by clicking on the background, and then a little bit of OCO and OSO functionality, which is like diving into a little bit more complex setups on the TradeStation platform. But I hope that you guys enjoyed the presentation and that you can continue to follow us in the TradeStation channels on You Can Trade, the Getting Started, and the TradeStation Masterclass. By the way, once you have an order here, I do see an additional comment here. You can adjust these to any other level that you want. So if you change your mind and you want to shoot for maybe 4,700 on that last contract, you can just click on that line and bring it up to 4,700. And if you want the initial or the first stop to be a little bit closer to your entry, you can click and drag that line and push it up to, closer to the market activity. So all these lines are adjustable and you can just drop them wherever you need them to be. All right. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for supporting the webinar, and I hope to see you in a future class. Have a wonderful afternoon and great having you. Good luck in your trading. Bye-bye.